Hello, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. Just giving everyone a little bit of time to get checked in. Come on in. If you are on Facebook, any of the Facebook setups, go ahead and if you go to streamyard.com/Facebook, we can see your comments here. Otherwise, I don't really get to see it. My buns are all kind of lopsided. It's feeling a little bun-like today. Okay, so yes, please go to put that up, streamyard.com/Facebook, so I can see your comments. But if you are on YouTube, that's already feeding it into me. And Instagram, I've got you on a separate camera. What I am doing, we've been having some interesting setups with getting Instagram going on these lives. I know they are about an hour long. So what I'm doing is I'm broadcasting on Lisasoul on Instagram and on Facebook as well, I believe. And then the replays will be left in LiveStream. So I'll have the replays of these videos. And for those on Instagram who can't see, I've got some pictures on here on Facebook and YouTube. So if you can't, you won't be able to see them on Instagram live. But if you go to YouTube or if you go to my LiveStream Instagram, I will actually have the pictures, and I will I can put the replays on there. So we're just trying to figure out how to navigate to get all this information to you. I'm going to figure it out. Things are changing all the time, and we're going with the flow to whatever it takes to get the information to you. So, but like I said, let me know if you're interested in me seeing your comments. Just go to streamyard.com/Facebook and get that set up there. Let me just check a couple of things. Come on in and get comfy, y'all. Let's see, we're looking okay. Everything else. We've got our Council of Light behind us. How are we all doing today? Today is, oh, I've still got day 6 on there. Let's fix that. Fix that right now. We've got a new stone today. Didn't that update? Today is day 7, and we are doing the beautiful Danburite today. Sweet, sweet energy of Danburite. And it's got some beautiful messages for all of you. So sit tight, get comfy. Just trying to verify that I got everything up that needs to be up. Let's see, we've got you in LiveStream and Lisa Sadowski. Yeah, what it is Instagram, if I want to repost these videos on IGTV, they have to be within the hour. And sometimes I start the broadcast a little bit early just to allow people to come in. And so I'm having to go back and edit the videos. So I'll make sure and get those videos edited. I think I did days 5 and 6 already are up on the LiveStream Instagram page. So, and that's actually got some pictures on there. It's got some banners so you can read the questions. Everybody that's been on Instagram has probably not actually seen the questions written out. So you'll actually get to see them if you go back and see days 5 and 6. And of course, the meditations are in there for you. So I, at least when I was trimming it down, I left the meditations and the later part of the information for you. So for example, all of this will probably be cut out once I put it in the new video on Instagram. So come on in, come on in, come on in. Let me see you. Show me your beautiful faces, or at least send me a text. Let me know that you are here. I don't know why I'm talking like this right now. And don't ask me what kind of an accent that is. All right. Let me make I see some people are here. Let me just get my stuff in a row. Yay. Okay, better. I'm looking at Instagram, which seems like it's right in my face, and then seeing all the rest of you here. So Welcome, 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 welcome to 21 days of crystal heartenings. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to day 7. Day 7 of 21. We're a third of the way through this beautiful and powerful journey that was brought forth by Spirit. Oh my, one of my, let's see here. Can't have, look at that. It's like wanting to get the rainbows going through there. We got to have all the little light cancels going on through here. We've got our fire. We've got our wind with the doTERRA diffuser. I've also got a beautiful feather to represent the wind, and the crystals. And of course, today's crystal is beautiful Danburite. Now, if you all don't understand already, these pictures that I've been sending to you have codes coming through them. And then if you want a great way to connect with these and you like the beauty of some of these crystals, I would say just take the exercise of trying to photograph these. Because you'll see gorgeous, when it glimmers in the light, you'll see these beautiful rainbows in some of these stones. The clearer they are, the more difficult they are to take the pictures. So I did post a picture before, but it's just not really coming through. And I even noticed that on some of these stones, when I look at them up online, that they are a little bit more, see, my computer's already acting crazy on me. Excuse me for a second. Let me just clear a couple of things right now. Calling in some support to clear all this goody stuff. There we go. So what we've got is this beautiful stone. So powerful. It's throwing up my computer all over the place. So you can see the shape of it is really unique. The terminations on it are a little bit different. I wish this could kind of come through a little bit better. You can even see some of those rainbows in there. This is actually a twin. It's kind of got 2 stones that we're attempting to grow in there. And I don't know if the lighting reveals it. It may look kind of clear, but it's actually got a pink hue to it. This is a pink one. There's clear Danburite. Actually, I have a clear one. I didn't bring that. So, but there's so many beautiful characteristics to it. You'll notice the striations along the side there that you'll see, right? The clear ones right now, it's not so much as kind of like cracking inside of it as well, but there are some clear versions. The top of this crystal seems be a little bit more clear. Look at those rainbows they're trying to come through. Let me see if I can send those to you. I'll send those to Instagram as well. See this? See, trying to get that to you. So this is a beautiful stone called Danburite, known to connect to the angelic realm. So that's where we're going to be hanging out today. And just to start it off here, my name is Lisa Sadowski. I am the founder of Life's Remission. Let me see if I can pull that up here. Founder of Life's Remission, which is basically was set up for the sake of assisting women in remission to get past their fear of recurrence, and live a life filled with deeper inner peace and in freedom, basically getting them freedom from fear. So typically that is, my expertise might come more around the people who are involved in, have had the experience of cancer and are thriving past it, looking to figure out how to integrate that movement into their life. But really what it is that I'm offering is an experience of tapping in to the deep sovereignty that we are, so that we can fully express and move past any fears of recurring behaviors, patterns, and blockages that have kind of kept us in a stagnant state and kept us from moving forward in our life. And typically that shows up as some sort of fear when we're not moving forward. So I have had my share of traumas and had my share of experience of moving past those fears. So I am the one thing I will call myself and title myself with is a sovereignty teacher. I'm a preacher of sovereignty. I'm all about owning our sovereignty, spiritual accountability, and owning who we are, both aspects, right? The good and the bad, all aspects of ourselves. So what we call bad, by the way, everything is perfect in the perfection that we are. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about Danburite. I'll give you some background. And this has kind of been what we've been doing every day. I'd talk a little bit about the crystal, about what might have been said, what we're kind of familiar with. You can kind of research some of this information on your own. And then I'm going to go deeper into what Spirit brought forth that wants to come forward about these stones. As I mentioned before, the order of these stones is very particular. There is no hierarchy as to which stones are more important than the others. It's not about that. This is just for the sake of this particular 21 stones. It is an initiation of sorts, to where the order in which they come kind of lead into each other and allow a sort of flow of this wisdom to come through. If you cannot follow these exactly in this order, no problem. I would just suggest wherever you come in to make an effort to go back and go through the other videos. Like I mentioned before, all of them are going to be available on Instagram in the Life's Remission page, which is on their Facebook and Instagram, Life's Remission, and also on YouTube. They will all be there too. So if you're not on Facebook, it's no big deal. Just go ahead and go to YouTube. And if you go to any of the Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, I have links as to take you into YouTube and all that good stuff. So that's what we got going on there. All right, so let's start with the beautiful Danburite. This to me is one of the most direct connections to spirit, to the divine, to the angelic, specifically through the angelics. So it actually is assisting with the opening of the channel, meaning our capacity to communicate directly with source. And then, and it assists with spiritual evolution. It is a wind energy, for those who are familiar with the elements, the other elements, different elements that they align with. The Danburite aligns more with the wind energy. It's kind of to me, what speaks through Danburite is the phrase, all is well. It is a beautiful, comforting stone that when we tune into it and we kind of tap into the wisdom that it has, first thing it kind of does is just settles to allow us to sit in the stillness and really connect with the central aspect of who we are. So this, if you can see the pinker heart, this pink color, I should say, can be associated with what we call the higher heart, the aspect at a soul level that connects us. Again, that's why it's connecting us to these angelics. So not only does it connect us to that through that higher heart, does it allow us to connect directly to this angelic realm, it enables a recall of sorts. So if you've had the experience where you've had some intel come through, you feel like you've actually got some information that resonates with you, this feels like this is something that you really want to connect with, and then it just goes away. If you get the download and then it just kind of escapes you. So the beauty of what Danburite has to offer is the capacity to remember that. And again, we talk about integration, right? This is the goal of all of this is, as we gain this wisdom, we want to retain it and we want it to be a sustainable download. So this assists with recall, to be able to remember what that is. And the reason that it's to say how that happens is, and how it specifically assists with that, is when we are in that place of stillness, which is what it brings back to us to, we understand that when this wisdom comes through, that the reason it's coming through is so that we can integrate it. So when we're sitting in that stillness and we hear the beautiful divine wisdom come through and tuning into the messages from a stone like Danburite, it reminds us that as we are listening and getting caught up in the beautiful emotion of it, we're also wanting to make sure that we're integrating at a cellular level in our body. We're wanting to make sure that this is something that we bring with us through our evolution, instead of having to go back and remember or kind of recall at a later date in time. If we can integrate this into our bodies, and make it a new lifestyle, if you will, a way of life, then at that point it assists us kind of make sure that we're retaining this information. So it also offers a gentle upliftment. The moment I hold it, it just feels like a little bit of a light high, and it just kind of just calms the spirit instantly. So in doing so, it allows you to release stress and worry. We'll get into that a little bit later. So this, like I said, is the pink one. We have a white one, which I may just go and grab just so you can see the contrast. Actually, I'm going to do that. Hold on one second. Hold that thought. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I believe. Hope I have it in here. Coming, I'm coming. I'm gonna really hope I have it in here. Oh my goodness. Just going with the flow, y'all. Going with the flow. And then making sure I can even see it because it's not a big one. I know it's in here somewhere. Please show yourself to me. Maybe it just doesn't want to be seen today. It just doesn't want to be seen today. That's okay. What I wanted to kind of show you was, oh, here you are. See? It was joking with me. Okay. So tiny, very tiny. This is a little one, but I just want you to see, this is the clear Danburite, right? And then in comparison to this one, you can see a little bit more of a pink hue, right? So it's very minute, the difference between a pink and a white. So just know that. I'll show that here too. Very subtle difference in shade. But if you look close enough, you can see the difference in colors, right? This is more of a true clear, but you can still see the termination, how the termination happens a little bit differently than, say, a quartz does. It's a little bit of a flatter surface on the top. You can see that. This does still have striations. It's just because it's kind of small, you can't really see them. Yeah. Again, these clear ones, you guys, are just so difficult because it's so difficult to contain that energy. But so just to kind of demonstrate the clear versus the pink. And the reason I want to bring that to light is because the pink actually shows itself because it's in, from what I understand, all the pink stones that I know of contain actually lithium, and the lithium literally have lithium in it. So when I say that it kind of mellows you out, you're literally holding something that has that aspect of lithium with it when it has the pink Danburite. So not that you wouldn't get that soothing energy from the clear, but the difference is just that this one actually you feel a little bit more of a just relaxing energy. That feels more like a little bit of a buzz. I don't want to say a buzz, like you're high or something, but to me, this gives more of a relaxing energy. And the clear one is, while it's still connecting you to the angelics by all means and all purposes, especially something of a higher quality with the smaller ones, there's a little bit of a difference, of a subtlety in that stillness, in that calmness. The pink offers more of that. So just as you're looking around, again, for some of you who are just barely tuning into the crystals and getting to know them, you may not tune into those differences and it may not be a big deal to you. But for those of us who are a little bit more intuitive and are starting to tune into this information, that's just something for you to know when you're deciding between which pieces to get. Sometimes people want a more peaceful feeling, but if they had something like this, it might put them to sleep if they're highly sensitive. So this is why the variations in colors. And actually, I want to say, yeah, but most often they're colorless and white, but there we go. Yeah, yellow or pale pink. So this is the pale pink that I have. Ooh, I wanted to give some pretty rainbows right there too. So little tidbits about that, about the lithium that's in it. It's really amazing. I mean, these are all minerals and chemicals that we know about. But when we think of them in respect to crystals, we forget that they contain so much. Something as simple as Himalayan salt is pretty much all the minerals in the salt itself. I mean, you know, we don't think about things like this, but all that comes with them. And this is why they're such powerful tools. Okay, so it encourages communication with the higher realms, with the angels and etc. Sorry, my eyes are a little itchy. Um, and it facilitates communication of knowledge, connects to the angels. But like I mentioned before, it's that pink one is kind of more connecting you to the divine heart. But whether you have the pink or the clear one, it's still going to kind of give you that access to it. Definitely a feeling of comfort. And it's very good for releasing grief, fear, anxiety. Again, we'll kind of talk about that at a later time in a little bit more detail. But it's very good right now as we're going through everything that is happening in this year, and there's a lot of anxiety coming up. I think that's why this stone showed up in the 21 stones. I mean, keep in mind how many options were there for which stones to start out with. So I'm really interested in the flow of these 21 days and the order in which we've been using them. Yesterday was a huge activation with phenakite. Again, that clear, high vibrational energy and a little bit more electric. Danburite is going to be more of a soothing kind of like, okay, you had your workout on. Let me give you something a little bit more relaxing now, and give you a break before we kind of go for another workout. Okay, it's kind of the way to look at that. Okay, so it gives you that feeling of comfort, like just a cozy mama hug. Helps release the grief and fear and anxiety. And now some of these stones have aspects of from a mental, emotional, and a physical aspect. Danburite in particular functions more, I would say you will get more use out of it from a spiritual and emotional standpoint. Not that it doesn't assist in healing at a physical level, but there are other stones that are more directed towards the physical aspect. This one in particular, Danburite, is very, very high vibrational, assists with the heart and crown chakra, but also the higher etheric chakras, if you follow that teaching at all. And the other thing is it is part of, yesterday I mentioned something called the Synergy 12 stones, which I don't know if I told the story about them, but basically they are, this gentleman named Robert Simmons who wrote the book, the Book of Stones. He co-wrote that book with few other books. And he has spent so much time with these stones that he realized that putting these certain stones together would allow you to be able to kind of tap into a higher realm, a higher aspect of yourself when we do this. And whether you believe it or not, whether you believe that these crystals actually have that capacity to do that, whether or not I even believed it, I found myself just searching out these stones. Something kept telling me that I needed to get them. I want to say I was looking for them for over the course of a good 5 to 8 years, just because some of them were really difficult to find. Some of them were super pricey. And so little by little, I started accumulating them. And the day I had ordered, there were about 3 that I just couldn't find. So I went online and I actually went through Robert's website himself and found the tiniest pieces of these other crystals that I couldn't find. And I didn't even grid them. What I mean by gridding is an intentional placement of them to kind of make some energy happening, right? I had no intention. I was just kind of bringing them out to make sure I could count that I had them all, right? And the moment I put them down, I was just overcome. I mean, I didn't even put the last one down. The moment I just kind of was getting ready to place it there, I was just overcome with this beautiful energy. Now, whether that was because I was in my zone, just feeling so good, playing with these toys that I love so much. But I will tell you that every time I put these 12 stones together, it's just been a powerful experience. There's also a Synergy 7, which is very powerful as well. So you can start off, you can Google this and find these stones. It's not very difficult. There's phenakite, the one that we did yesterday, I believe is part of the Synergy 12. I'm trying to remember. There's so many beautiful moldavite, phenakite's on there. I think we've got about 5 of the Synergy 12 stones in this 21 days. So that was really interesting. Again, these just flowed through me. So I'm just realizing that Danburite, today's stone, the point of all this is that Danburite is in one of those, is part of the Synergy 12. So when I say that, these are high vibrational representations. And for those who are just joining, when I'm talking about crystals, understand that I'm referring to wisdom, the reminder of the truth that we already are, the truth that already exists within us. And these crystals, these stones, are a reminder of such perfection within us. They are literally perfect emanations of spirit. They're perfect creations with wisdom. Now, and if you don't believe that, let's just look back at something like, the divine inscriptions that were happening start with the 10 Commandments, if you follow those teachings, and Moses inscribing inside of those. You go to days of Egypt, and we have this wisdom being inscribed into these stones, into these caves, into these caverns. And many of the belief systems that are surrounding these beautiful teachings, many of these were all divinely guided, depending on which or any of the religious backgrounds or teachings you follow. Many will agree that it was divine inscription. It was divine action taken, guided by source, whichever name you choose to give it to. So as these crystals were, these stones, these representations that were here, by the way, before human flesh even existed, right? Think about that for a second. All the avatars that we're tuning into that had human form, these crystals were here along the whole entire way. And those avatars utilized these crystals back then as well. There's records of this happening. So whether you follow any of these teachings, whether you have no association with any of them, the truth remains that even at a scientific level, we use these stones and these crystals as teachers, and as we go back and do research on our own history, there is wisdom instilled in them. And so when we are able to tap into that, when we're able to speak from our heart space, tap into that aspect, we can find that we will have information coming through us and through these crystals. So this level of communication requires us to tap in to that heart space, to speak from that place of love where language doesn't matter. Hence the reason why we look back at all these texts and there's been some misinterpretation or reinterpretation or whatever interpretation in whatever language has been written in and converted into. By the time it is, by the day that we are today, it's almost like the game of telephone. It's a totally different story sometimes in some instances, right? Because our understanding within the confines of this human brain are so limited. But when we step outside, we step into the fullness of who we are, that which exists beyond the limitations of the human body. When we tap into that aspect of ourselves, there's no language, there are no words, there are no identities, none of that exists. All that exists is this experience of what we call love. To me, when I've tapped into that field, love isn't even a word. It is just complete expression, fullest expression of me as an individualized soul. So utilizing and just kind of aligning with that, understand that I'm not talking about worshiping these crystals. I'm definitely not saying that these crystals are going to be fixing anything. If anything, they, like I, are teachers of sovereignty. And the moment we start relying on them and expecting them to fix us, or, I'm having a headache and if I grab this crystal, it's going to fix me. No, what they are teachers. And they are reflections of that which already exists within us. So they are tools, they are resources to assist us in it, but they are divinely guided and divinely sent to us. So hopefully that was like a nice little stream that came through right now. So I'll let that go. All right. Joy. I want to talk about joy. I think most of us can understand the concept of when we say we want to live in joy. We have many different ideas of what that means. And it should be that way because each of us at a different level has a different idea of what joy or what would make them feel joyful is. Danburite in particular literally calls as that being the deepest priority is to tap into the joy, because the practice of seeking joy. So maybe you're going through some traumas right now. Maybe you're having some experiences that don't feel like joy. And that is okay. We are allowed to let these emotions flow through us exactly as they are. See them for what they are so that we can allow them to move through us and allow more wholeness to come through and be expressed. When we are seeking joy, when we have the attention of seeking deep inner joy, deep inner peace, right? When we're in that state, automatically it uplifts the soul. Automatically it lifts us up to a higher vibration than we were before. So I'm not saying that we ignore our time when we should be in grief. When we are in that moment when we need to grieve, because that is the cycle that we have to go through. Anger, frustration. We talk about these emotions like we need to shove them to the side. The reality is that we still are in a world of duality in this physicalness that we are in. So in order to understand light, we need to know dark. In this body, we need to understand it. In order for us to understand good, we want to know bad. For the sake that if we had everything that was good, we would have no appreciation for it. So everything comes in context. And when we talk about joy, understand that when we are seeking it, when we were simply with the purity of intention of seeking deep inner joy, I'm not talking about a quick high. I'm not talking about going and getting a car or a house or something that gives you a quick little fix. I'm talking about a deep level of knowingness and truth that can allow you to live in the state of joy no matter what is around you. Again, you're not expected in every single moment to be in that state. But if we set that intention to be a seeker of joy and make the priority, this is when miracles can really happen. This is when our lives can completely change. So if we're tuning into that, that's a fantastic thing. And this is where this beautiful little stone comes in handy for that, to tune us into that joy. And when we are just setting the intention of seeking it, it will assist us to connect to that truth. I feel like I just want to put it right here in my heart. It just wants to be right here for right now. So that's where I'm going to put it. I want to make sure I'm watching my time right here. Okay. So we're not doing too bad today with time. So that is what we got going on. I just want to check on here. We got Lester Miyazaki. What is happening, Lester? What's going on, man? Oops, sorry. I got so excited. I almost paused everything. We got Jonathan Miller. Oh my goodness. Miller. It's so good to see you all. I'm so glad you guys are here. Yeah, I mean, if we can't physically be around each other, right? Why not do it this way? And what a better way to do it than talking about high vibrational things. So I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay, so joy and the feeling of all is well. That's what we're going to kind of focus on today. So part of, now that I've kind of walked through that, part of what Spirit brought through was this concept of these questions. And if you've watched some of the days before, we've covered this every single night or day for you, depending on where you're tuning in with this, of higher, deeper, and wider. So like I mentioned, when we tune into this realm, we are not actually, we're tuning into this higher realm of the crystal truth that we are. There are no words, there's no language, there's no, we are just in this perfect space of deep, deep wisdom that we have access to, right? And so what Spirit brought through was to go higher, deeper, and wider into what these crystals represent. So we took each of these terms and I tuned in with Spirit, and it gave me a question to kind of answer, if we will, these questions, a question to ask ourselves in relation to each of these crystals, and just kind of have us go into it a little bit deeper. So the first concept is we go higher, deeper, wider. Let's start with higher. So if you start with the concept of higher, Spirit says, what would you, instead of saying the word higher, think about the concept of release. Because when we say higher, sometimes we start thinking about hierarchies. Again, we're talking about a lot of social attachments to these words that we've created for ourselves. So Spirit's asking us to kind of like move past that and really dig deeper into what these things mean. So if we step into that concept of higher, Spirit's like, well, what can be released? Tap into the word of release. What is that? What is Spirit saying? It's saying, what can be released so that more may be revealed. So if we think about the way that the human brain works, it's like a hard drive, right? That you have a certain amount of capacity, and we're filling it with all these crazy, not so high vibrational thoughts and everything. It starts consuming and creating these neural pathways in our brains that form habits. We form habits, and not all of them are for our highest and greatest good. When we fill our brains with thoughts that are not serving our highest and greatest good, it doesn't allow for a lot of room for the things that do to come in, right? So starts asking, if we want to get into this higher, quote, higher field, this higher vibration, first ask, what can be released so that more may be revealed? What can we kind of take and junk out of the hard drive that does not serve us, so that more of the truth of who we are can arise and come into that, our beingness, and basically integrate into our bodies, right? So with regards to how that relates to this beautiful stone, is that it allows you to tap into these angelic realms. It's an instant kind of a conduit to the angels, if you will, the angelic archetypes. And so because it allows that ability, when we start tuning into that frequency and allowing that to come into our field, suddenly we start seeing things that are not serving us, and we start releasing that, and it falls away. This isn't a traumatic experience. It's not something that we're doing. I mean, it can be. You can turn it into a really traumatic experience if you want to. But if you're really truly tapping into that higher realm within ourselves, and you're allowing this wisdom to come through and to integrate in the body, then the things that do not serve you naturally fall away, and there is no conflict. There is no resistance. And I think we're just used to the concept of when we need to let things go, that it's going to be a horrible experience. But when you go in with it, understanding that ease and grace is what we can actually call forth as we're going through this, then the release is just it's a side effect. It's a beautiful side effect as we elevate ourselves to this higher consciousness. So this is where Danburite comes in and gives us that feeling of comfort, of safety, of just feeling held and feeling loved and feeling embraced. It gives us that sense of confidence to be able to go, oh, I feel complete, I feel whole. I can release these other things that were just kind of getting in the way. Because once we really feel that joy, once we really feel that happiness that comes from nothing other than who we really are, we start getting addicted to that. And that is what we want to get addicted to. That is the feeling that we want to kind of integrate into our bodies, instead of fear, doubt, and worry. And we have plenty of that to go around. So I don't think we need to worry about forgetting about worry. We have plenty of it to go around. So let's just up our game on talking about higher vibrations and talking about what can be released. And let's focus on what wants to be revealed. And Danburite can help you to do that by just soothing the soul in that way. Okay, so that was higher. Now we're going to go deeper. So higher, deeper, wider. Deeper, Spirit asks, let's contemplate the word rooted in this instance, right? So what truth is calling for deeper embodiment? I think that everything, yeah. To look at my screen behind this. So rooted, when we talk about the concept going deeper into these teachings, this wisdom, what truth is calling for deeper embodiment? So what is it that hasn't been integrated in the body yet? What is it that, as kind of like a heady concept, that maybe got stuck in that higher part, and we're going out of body and tapping into the angels and living this like, oh, it'd be so great to live in this wonderful world? Which of those things have we not actually brought into the body and not actually taken action on? Which of those things, these beautiful downloads that have come through, these gifts that have come through to you, which of those things have we just not taken any efforts on, not taken any action upon? And what's calling for us to go deeper into it? Again, you could go through everything and take it all at once, but typically, if we go one by one and just ask one truth at a time and ask each of these individual crystals to help us with that. I mean, literally, if you have one of these, the Danburite or any of the other crystals that we've had for these days, sit with it in meditation, just hold it and ask your guide, your archetypes, your avatars that you follow, if you have any, or if you call it source, universe, God, whatever you call it, ask for guidance. And if you don't know any of that, then I would say ask your highest self. What is the highest self? I call forth the highest self. I set the intention before anyone comes into this field that only the highest aspect of each and every one of you, the highest aspect at a soul level, is able to be in this field, because this field is set at such a high vibration that anything less than the highest vibration will have to fall away. The specific intention is that anything that is not of the highest love and light and not to serve the highest and greatest good is sent back to source, raised to its highest vibration, and transmuted into love. That's the actual intention that I set in this sacred space before I even open it up here. So if we tune into that at an individualized level, and we don't know, and I don't know a lot of people that have had this situation. Look, I don't know what God is. I don't know what Yeshua, Jesus is, if that's what you believe. I don't know what any of those names are. I actually was with a very beautiful friend of mine who was transitioning out of her body. She was 26 years old when this happened, and she had no concept of any faith, none whatsoever. She had a stepfather that was involved in the Catholic upbringing. Her mom wasn't really practicing any faith. And when it came to her knowing the last 3 years of her life that this was going to be it, she was in this insane search to try and find something and wanting to call it something. And so she kept asking me, to pray with her and tell her, teach her, whatever. And what I realized in that moment was that I can share my experience, but when we talk about the concept of spiritual accountability, and it comes into play when we are dealing with something like that, when we're getting ready to make that transition out of this body back into the true essence that we are, you start asking these questions like, well, who am I talking to? What am I talking about? And who am I looking for? And it didn't matter in the end. It didn't matter what she called it. All that mattered was a heart space opening and connecting to a higher source. She ended up calling it universe. And I felt completely compelled, or I knew that as she was making the transition, she was exactly where she needed to be. And I'm very intuitive in that nature. So typically I would have had a much different experience if I felt like there was something to be concerned about. But she was so connected in those last breathing moments I was with her. And it just really was a life lesson to me that we put so much focus on titles and names and associations and, being on the in crowd by saying things a certain way, when it comes down to it, sweetheart, your Bible doesn't go with you. It's you, the essence of who you are, and your maker, your creator. And honestly, the name doesn't matter in my experience, because I've had opportunities to check out, and you're in a field of complete essence. So let me just let you know that in this field of essence, there's no need to worry about titles, names, value, any of that kind of stuff. All it's concerned about is the heart space, knowing the essence of who you are, and asking what your next steps will be in the evolution of your soul. So when we're talking about something like this, when we're talking about getting rooted and what truth with a capital T is calling for deeper embodiment, we're tapping into that essence of ourselves, that higher aspect of ourselves. And so if you don't have a name, and you don't know what to call it, just simply ask your highest self to come forward and assist you with what is to come next. Typically what will happen is you'll have some ancestral, what will feel like ancestral energies that'll come through. Spirit uses whatever mechanism it can to communicate with you. So if a memory of an ancestor is the way that it can come through, it will come through that way. If the concept of an angel that looks a certain way is how you connect to source, that will come through. If a crystal is a way that you understand to connect to source, that is how it will be spoken to you. So this is just one of many resources. But when we set the intention to tune into that, this is where this divine wisdom comes. And this is when we ask ourselves these powerful questions. What truth is calling for deeper embodiment, this is where we get the directions, and this is where we get our focus, and we get out of that state of confusion. Okay, so we did higher, deeper, and let's go wider. So I think I'm going to get through this pretty quickly so we can get into meditation. So it's asking from a wider perspective, what opening wants to occur in order to assist my spiritual expansion and ascension? Break that down for a second. So again, when we're looking at it, again, higher, deeper, wider, when we're looking at it from the wider perspective, Spirit's saying, let's use the word inclusion. And it's asking, what do we want to include into this wider perspective that we may have been shoving aside? What have we been closed off to, right? What have we kind of just, we create these bubbles around us of reality that we create. You literally are the creator of your own world. Understand this. You create your own reality. And what we typically do when we're feeling insecure about certain things, or we have fears or doubts or worries, we create this sweet little bubble of the only things that we're allowing to come into our field. And what happens is we start like keeping things out of our field, which in certain instances are necessary. But when we are completely connected, nothing, and we know our sovereignty, nothing can affect us. So understand there are times when we need to set up boundaries, we need to protect ourselves. But when we are in a safe space like we are right now, we want to make sure that we're not having things slip under the radar, that we're calling them negative or bad or anything like that, when in reality it's simply fear, and it's simply the unknown. And the reality is that every color of the spectrum, every aspect of the spectrum has a lesson, and if you choose to see it, a blessing. That I do believe everything. I'm going to say everything. Yes, everything. So for those of you who are thinking about the traumas that have happened in your life and you're seeing there's absolutely no way that this is divine, let me please offer to you that once we go through the process of processing the trauma or what happened, and once we get to a space where we feel safe and we can get connected again, there is a gift in it. Not just a lesson, but a blessing. And when we take this wider perspective, when we step back and look at it from a macro perspective instead of a micro, narrow-minded perspective. And again, please, no self-deprecation is allowed here. So if you're going through something that requires us to have, sometimes we need to have that narrow perspective. So I'm not saying that narrow perspective doesn't assist us. We've had throughout the course of evolution plenty of time of functioning from that narrow perspective. And even now, there are a lot of things that are happening in the realities of many of our worlds that require us to kind of hone in that peripheral view and just get focused on dealing with what we need to deal with now. But when we can get still, when we can, after we process that, and we can get back to a state of safety and knowingness and tune back into that sovereign space, then when we are empowered enough, we can ask these questions. And this is where our evolution really explodes. This is where it really, really happens. We say, what opening wants to occur in order to assist in my spiritual expansion and ascension? What is it that I've been closed off to? And I guarantee you, if you're still in this human body, there are things that you are closed off to, because no one is fully self-realized and still in the physical body right now that I know of. And if they are, they're still here to learn some more lessons. I guarantee that. I'll put a lot of money on that one. So if we understand that there's always more to learn, even outside of this body, when we are in that connected truth of essence and knowingness of who we are, we're always expanding. Newsflash, guys. After we get through all this, and then you go to those of you who say you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go somewhere else, it ain't over, yo. There's more. We're constantly evolving and constantly expanding. There's more work to be done. There's more growth to be happening. And that is really where if we understand that and tap into that and allow that, then we know that we won't be so hard on ourselves, because we're just constantly evolving. Change is inevitable. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. So when we tap into this concept of wider, again, ask yourself, what opening wants to occur in order to allow facilitate my spiritual expansion and ascension. This stone will allow you again to tap into that heart space and allow that truth to come through and assist you with getting clarity on what that information is. And it is functioning at the vibration of that undertone, that emotional undertone of peace. So that's a little bit about Danburite today. Basically, all is well. This is the all is well stone in either form, pink or the little clear. So with that, I would like to see what we can do to get into our beautiful space. I'm going to take a little drink of water, get comfy, and we'll start, do a quick meditation to end the night. But as I mentioned, Danburite is such a sweet stone. And right now it really serves us to tap into that sweetness. Again, these are reminders of that which exists within us. And we're coming up in the holidays and we're coming into a point where we're beginning a new year. We're starting a brand new slate. At least that's what we always tell ourselves. We want to make sure that we're integrating these truths at a deep level so that we can move forward in our spiritual exploration and share that joyous experience with those around us and have an upliftment at a cosmic level, at a global level, whatever it is, whatever level you're willing to contribute to. If you're doing this work and you're actually intending on bringing this truth forward, know that you are assisting the greater good. And when you are assisting the greater good, guess who the rewards come to? You're part of that greater good. So let's tune into that. Get some water. All right. So I'll ask you all to just get comfortable, sit in your chairs, feel into the physicalness that you are while asking the highest aspect of yourself to come forward. As the intention was set before, all that is allowed in this field is an energy of love, peace, joy, highest love and light. Anything less than that is sent back to source, raised to its highest vibration, and transmuted into love. As all the avatars come forward to assist in this endeavor and assuring that this space, this sacred sanctuary, follows through with that beautiful space. It is gently guiding forth the highest aspect of everyone on this call now and in the future now. Calling forth the perfect aspect of ourselves that is always there, always at our beck and call, and eagerly awaiting to be utilized, to be expressed. The highest you, the part of you that will never be forgotten, the part of you that even outside of the physical body, those who are closest to you will always recognize you, will always know you. The part of you that they fell in love with and felt connected to. These beautiful guides are asking you to tune into that aspect of yourself. Who am I? Before you were even in the womb, there was a perfect image of you. Who am I? Breathing all in that is light, highest vibration. And exhaling out anything that is not. Looking around and seeing the eye behind the eye, the deep knowingness. Of these beautiful angelics, archetypes, highest light energies that are here to assist us. Oh, they are so eager to connect with you. For that is simply all that they want, connection. They're not asking anything of you, just to listen and connect. They are the remembrances of all that you are. Imagining a beautiful beam of brilliant white light coming down at the top of your crown. And opening up a beautiful lotus flower at the top of your crown. Just a beam of light shooting through the flower, through the top of our crown, creating a beautiful, sweet vortex of light energy, of pure joy. And this twirling, beautiful lotus flower, just imagine it falling down all the energy centers in your body. Opening and closing and clearing everything that needs clearing along the way. And leaving behind a trail of beautiful white light. You may sense it resting in certain parts of the body. Bring in a little bit more light in certain areas. Connecting down to the heart, down to the lower energy centers. Pressing down into the earth, bringing this beautiful light down into the earth. Grounding this magnificent energy. Sending it out to the grid across the entire planet. This lotus flower coming all the way back up to the heart. And now in our heart space, it is facing forward. It's projecting this light out into the world. But this is your personal expression. This is your unique code that you are sending out to the world. This lotus flower is just rotating and expanding again in this gorgeous vortex energy. And it's mirroring the front and the back of us. This lotus vortex is shooting out in the front and shooting out in the back, allowing another way for light to come through and as us. And as the light moves through you with your individualized codes, see the new life that is created. You are a creator, creating your reality with every thought that you have. This lotus flower is a reminder of the absolute perfection that you are, the essence of you that is non-replicatable, unique only to you, and will never, in any time space, be duplicated. Your essence is you and only you. Peace, love, joy, all of that exists within this truth of who you are. All we have to do is remember and allow each petal to unfold and unveil more and more truth about ourselves. As the flower opens wider and wider and wider, it's revealing more and more of the truth of who we are, this perfection of us, this wholeness that we already are. Do you remember? Do you remember who you are? You are love. You are inner peace. You are joy. You are freedom. You are liberation. You are sovereign. And unbreakable. As this beautiful lotus flower collapses in on itself, keeps rotating, it's just gently closing up and rotating in a beautiful circle, encapsulated in a beautiful sphere of love. Makes its way back up through the crown, but before it exits your field, it lays a gentle kiss of a reminder saying, I am always here. Always. All is always well. As it goes back out the crown into the beautiful white light, we can fall back into the physicality and the gratitude for being here in this body, in this lifetime. And allowing the remnants of that beautiful beam of white light and that sweet, sweet energy of the lotus still remain in our remembrance. Know that it is always here with us. As you familiarize yourself with the physical surroundings, the chair that you're sitting in, the weight of your arms, your legs, allowing them to come back, ground in, moving your fingers and your toes, opening your eyes and stretching if you feel so inclined to. So grateful to all the beautiful energies that came through to assist us with this meditation and the sacred field they are holding for the betterment of everyone's soul who is participating in this. They are so grateful for your sacred yes. I am so grateful for your sacred yes. And if you're not back already, come on in whenever you are. Welcome back. Thank you so much to all of you who have, if you've just joined today or if you've been here along the whole way. I'm so grateful for your yes, and I hope to see you tomorrow. We have day 8 tomorrow. I have my information for day 8. I can't remember what that is, but it's a good one coming for sure. Again, thank you so much for those of you who were on Instagram and couldn't see anything, maybe some of the displays that I was showing. Feel free to go to the YouTube or in my profile, the link in my bio. I can't even talk. I'm trying to touch back down still. The link in my bio has links for YouTube. And if you're not on Instagram or if you're not on Facebook, you know what I mean. All the links are on there in my bio on Facebook, Instagram, and there also is one there for YouTube. If you are not connected to YouTube, if you could please just go on there and go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get my subscriptions up there. I had to recalibrate actually all these pages. Part of what's going on with this right now is that I had to reset up some of the profiles and kind of start from scratch. So the goal is to get a lot of connections on Life's Remission so that I can kind of categorize all this information here for those that are interested in it. And then on YouTube, I had to create a whole new profile. So I need to get my subscriptions up there. So I would really appreciate a like and subscribe and a little bell so you can see when I'm coming on live. There's a lot of information streaming through. I'm glad I did say yes because this has been a beautiful experience. So I hope you'll follow, and I hope you will just participate, and I hope this wisdom is integrating with you with an ease and grace beyond your wildest imaginings. And I wish nothing but peace and love to all of you. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Love you all.